Hey everyone, John Rand here with Solutions 8, and today is going to be a fun video. Fun video because it solves a lot of problems a lot of people have with a lot of things. Actually, it's only one of those things, but then we're going to dive right in. So today we're going to be talking about why does ROAS control increase or decrease campaign activity? What I mean by that is, let's say you're on an upswing in both spend and conversions, but let's say ROAS is like 200, 300, and then you say, hey, give me 400 or 500. And all of a sudden you get the 400 and 500%, but all of a sudden the activity drops. Or maybe the other thing happens, you're not spending your full daily budget and you have your target ROAS set to like 350 and all of a sudden you drop to 250 or remove it and all of a sudden, wow, activity spikes up. There's a few things at play and we're going to discuss about how the algorithm works, what it looks for, why specific things happen. But first I want to start with an example so we can isolate this and I'll share with you what this looks like. So I'm in an account now and I'm filtering just by the change history of myself here. And you're going to notice two big updates. On the 22nd, I said, hey, go from 0 target to 325. And then 7 days later on the 29th, I said, okay, go from 325 to 425. Now, the two dates are July 22nd and July 29th. Now, in Just a Smart Shopping campaign, which is where you see that target return on ad spend usually dip. So let's go to July 22nd. Actually, let's go to the week before July 22nd. And this week, we were getting a 262% return on ad spend. Now, on July 22nd, I said, now let's see if we can get a 350% return on ad spend. So we go from the 23rd to the next week. Let's compare that to the previous period. Our 262 shoots right up. I asked it to get a 325 and it got up to 324.43. Like, perfect. Looks good. Now what happened to the campaign though? Our spend dropped down by 10%. Okay, not bad. We lost 3 conversions, but we gained 10% more in value. We lost 10%. That's fine. That's not a big change. 500 to 440. That's not too bad. That is some dip. But then you'll notice I said, hey, give me 425% return on ad spend on the 29th. Well, let's see what the 30th to the 5th compared. Let's try this one more time. The 30th to the 5th compared to the previous period did. Awesome. Went from 325 up to 465. Awesome. I asked it to get a 425 and it jumped right up to 465. Fantastic. Look at that ROAS climb. But then what happened? My cost went down 40%. Well, down 37.73%. So now I went from 500 down to 440. Okay. But then going from 440 down to 273. What happened? So this is what we typically see when you start to add a goal and you start to increase that goal. Google will give you exactly what you need. But the problem is it comes at a price. And what is that price? Volume. Now, why does volume drop? Because Google is basically saying, I have a group of people that I've been cultivating. I brought them to the site once. I brought them to the site again. I'm starting to market them more often. I'm also doing that to about maybe 10,000 other people at the same time. And I'm starting to get them all kind of massaged and get ready to buy. And then you say, okay, now give me 440% return on ad spend. It says, well, got to take the 75% of the people I was working on and throw them out the window and focus on these 30% of people and put all of my ad spend into inundating them and get as many people to buy as I possibly can. And then they buy. Because what it's doing is inundating them with ads, is putting more ads to people on the channels they know they're going to convert and they're first, and they're going to get a good conversion. They're going to spend very little money on just those particular people to get those people to buy. What happens? Your ROAS goes up. ROAS is simply a ratio. It's 1 to 4. It's 400% ROAS. Spend $1, make 4. But it's not saying like, hey, take all of the people that you're currently working on and get everyone to buy today. It doesn't happen. We can't. This isn't Aladdin. We're not going to control free will. So what this means though is that when you ask Google to do something, you have to understand what is the equal and opposite reaction of that. It means that if you take it and say only focus on these people, you're eliminating a large audience. And while you're eliminating a large audience, what does that do to the spend? Saves ad spend. Reduce the spend. What does it do? Make sure that only those people buy. You'll notice that my conversions didn't skyrocket. When you look at what happened, I lost 37% in cost. I made 38% less sales that had a only 10% loss in conversion value because I had less sales coming in, but the sales I did have coming in had a big value. So my ROAS spiked right up. But this is not where you go for a position of scale. You do not scale by limiting this. You can't say, hey, Google, cut out 75% of the market that you want and only going on these people and get them to buy 10 times more often. Not physically possible, never going to happen. I will challenge anybody that says, yeah, I threw a target ROAS and my ROAS doubled and then I scaled to the moon. It's not going to happen. It can happen in very, very, very small particular instance where you're purposely underspending and all of a sudden you just crank up your ad spend and say, well, I got it. But when you're trying to spend the daily budget and you're barely able to spend it, you can't use a restrictive bidding strategy and then scale. But what this is used for is working your way up to a specific point. Now, we're spending $500 a week, but what if we're spending $10,000 a week and we're getting 250, 300 ROAS? And I told Google, hey, give me a 440. That $10,000 a week may go down to $6,000 a week. That's okay. A 400 or 500% return on ad spend of $6,000 a week is still $25,000, $30,000 in revenue. That's good. But how do you get to the $5,000 per week or $10,000 per week? You have to continually add ad spend to get to that point. So the way that you add ad spend is by obviously adding ad spend, but what does Google do with that? It does this. And I'm gonna the products are gonna be okay. I can share with you the products, but I'll share with you what happens inside of Smart Shopping when I tell Google, hey Google, only focus on a 400% return on ad spend. It's going to say, okay, I can spend less on that. I can spend more on that, more on that, less on that, more on that, more on that, more on that, less on that, more on that, more on that, less on that. But if you only have, let's say in the beginning stages of this campaign, let's say May 1st through the 8th, I think is when we started sometime. Yeah, I think we started May 7th. So let's just do like the first week. If I start off in week 1 and I have a couple sales and I say, hey, give me a 500% return on ad spend or more. It says, okay, ignore that. I got 1, ignore that. I got 2, I got 3, I got 4. Cool. I'm going to spend all your money on these 4 products. Well, what about the other 1,062 products? Nope. You told me just to market the products that are already there. So of course, yeah, I can give you a 500% return on ad spend all day long. You'll be able to spend $12 a year, but I'll get you that 500% return on ad spend. So what happens now when all of your products have not been tested yet? And you ask it, hey, can you get a 500% ROAS on that product right there? Well, no, I haven't even gotten an impression. I'm not sure if I get a 500% ROAS, so no, I'm not going to spend any money on it. Well, fast forward now through May, June, July. Now let's go all the way out to a few months from now. Now we have a lot of sales and a lot of data, and I say, okay, Google, give me 800% ROAS or above. Cool. I can focus on that one, and there. All of these products here have 800% ROAS and above. If I just stop spending all of my ad spend on anything that's under 800% ad spend and only spend on here, yeah, I'm going to get 800% return on ad spend, but it's going to be only on the products that have had 800 or above. Now, what this means is that I'm going to still limit my spend. It's still going to be higher than it was the first week because you'll see that I have a lot of products now that Google can say, aha, I know where I can get that. And I'll actually offset it a little bit. And here's what's cool about that is you can have an 8,000, 6,000, 4,000 ROAS, and it'll actually start to sell the 4, 5s, and 6s because together a 1,000 plus a 100 equals 500. So it'll still sell high, it'll sell low. But if it doesn't know what it's going to sell for, like you see here's a 400, 500, 600, 700, all these are ROAS here. If it doesn't know what it's going to sell for, it's never going to be able to actually get you a good result. So what is really happening? Run it wide open, maximize conversions, and you run it for a long time, and you keep growing and scaling. We instilled a ROAS goal and took it off. When we instilled a ROAS goal, remember in July, it was starting to say, okay, it's kind of just fiddling out here. Turned it off, started to scale. I could hold this area here forever, and I'd only be able to spend $300-400 a week forever, and it will stay there and hold this area right here of that red line of conversion value cost. It'll just ebb and flow in there forever. But what it will not do is scale above that. And what it will not do is start to spend more money because it doesn't have any additional products to spend the money on. It's limited by what it knows it can spend. So Pareto's 80-20 rule. If you have 20% of your products making yourself 80% of the revenue, you have to give it enough ad spend, enough data, and enough time to then say, okay, Google, go ahead and give me a 500 ROAS. It will do it instantaneously. It will absolutely do it. But the reason when you run it is when you're so high up that you can actually get the reduction to still be okay. So if you're like, oh, I'm only spending $5,000 a day. I was spending 10, but now I'm getting 1,000 ROAS. Well, there's 50 grand. Good. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm using extremes to make the point. But if you just start off with, I made my first sale and give me 1,000 ROAS, it's just going to stop spending. You got to find a good balance. What's the threshold for pain? How long can I wait? And how long can I spend before I say, okay, now I'm at the tippy top. I got to pull some cash out of this. I got to start to become profitable. Turn on the return on ad spend target. It'll drop your spend, save you money. It'll make you more money in terms of revenue. There's more money again. And you hang tight there and you build up that bank account back up and then start to scale again. When it's appropriate to do that, no one knows. You got to test it. You got to turn it on. You got to turn it off. Okay, if that one seems to hover at $500 a week at 500 ROAS, is that good? No, we need to kick this thing up a bit. We got to turn it off. Continue to scale. Try it again at the next level. Hopefully this is a big help for everyone. And please don't have any questions. My name is John Moran with Solutions 8. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know we actually know what we're doing. We shoot a video every single day. So if you want to be notified, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any input, don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We get very little human interaction. Thanks for supporting our channel, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.